Hello everybody, welcome to this new edition of Teppen videos. My name is Nintendo and I have a special guest with me. This man's name is...
Iowa the Boat. How you guys doing?
Welcome Ira, thank you for this. So we're going to basically go over some budget 101 decks for new players in Teppen who are looking for decks to start off with, or to get an idea, a general idea on how to get into the game and where they can go from there. And then we can also show after you feel like you've got an idea of a budget deck, if you want to spend in or go for that extra bit of gainage, we do have a variation of the deck which is the optimal choice to help you with more matches and all that. So let's start off with our first deck here, which is based on the lovely Elder Dragon from Monster Hunter Nergigante. So Aya, would you like to take us from here, please?
Sure. So Nergigante is one of 10 heroes from Monster Hunter World. He's actually been, since Season 1 of Teppen, one of the best decks to just play in competitive play. And he hasn't really fallen off too much. He's actually always been a sleeper deck, even though Teppen did hit him with a nerf.
True.
And surprisingly enough, the same archetype, the ideal, the core cards and the idea of the deck, they still hold strong even to this meta. We're currently in Season 5. So it's been about, 4 months coming on to 5 months where this archetype has been very strong, and that is Nergigante Black-Green Spike Launch.
So let's start off with one of the hot flavors of this season right now. If you're looking to climb, or if you want to get into this, we'll start off with the Nergigante Spike Launch. So this is the budget 101 deck we got for you guys. So we'll start off with the first card. Sure,
Wall Jump. Wall Jump is a great card in this current meta. It's actually been great across all meta because you get to deny a trade, for example. So if your opponent has a unit and then you have a, normally they'll trade damage, right? But with Wall Jump, because it gives shield to one of your units, it allows you to trade one way where you deal damage to the opponent, but the opponent's not dealing damage to your unit. So it makes it very one-sided. And for 1 MP, which is 1 mana, it's too good to pass up.
No, yeah, it's definitely a choice card. Almost every green deck will definitely run this card. It's not something you want to not run, because it's just very helpful in that situation of giving a shield to block an attack and keep your unit alive for an extra however long before the next attack. So moving on, we've got Sibling Memories.
Sibling Memories, that card is very specific to Black-Green Nergigante Spike Launch, and the reason being is because of how Spike Launch works. So Spike Launch is an ability that scales, and it scales up to a cap of 12 points. So how it works is each character starts with 30 health. Nergigante will have an access to cards that cut from his life, so he's painting himself to gain a scale. So every time he cuts himself, however much he cuts himself, it'll add towards his hero art up to 12 throughout the whole game. So you get to build up to that cap. And what happens is when you cut yourself, up to 12 points, you get to use those 12 points as kind of like a board clear. So that 12 points turns into damage, and it's split across your opponent's board, and it's random. But normally, that amount of pressure is enough to clear the whole board, which is just really strong with this deck. But
Very
that
true.
is why Sibling Memories is in the deck, is because the hero art pains yourself, and Sibling, gains you health. It gains you 6 health for 2 mana.
It's very helpful. It's definitely situational, but especially if you're about to lose, 6 health will come in handy. But definitely, I guess throwing it out just to give yourself some extra life so you can do more plays will definitely come in handy. Next up we have on the list is Disarm.
Yes.
I like
Disarm. Yeah. Disarm is a card that inflicts seal onto an enemy unit, and what that does is it takes away all of the abilities on the card. So
if you're not sure what seal is, it's basically a full-on negate. It negates everything, effects, shields, abilities, but it does not negate attack boosts or defense boosts and all that. So it just takes away all the abilities. Flight as well, so it's very handy for those situations. Next up on the list, we've got Feline from Monster Hunter.
Yes, so Feline is one of my favorite cards, and I'm actually going to lump Feline with Layer because they follow similar in use. They're both MP boost units. Layer is definitely the better one to start with, but Feline serves a purpose because he's a 3-mana card. He normally blocks for very cheap, and 3-mana units you definitely want them to block with. With these MP boost units, the whole goal is, like we said before, talking about Sibling Memories and Spike Launch. As you're cutting yourself, you want to clear your opponent's board, and then while that's going on, ideally the first card you play in each game is going to be these MP boost units. So you play these MP boost units, you cut live, and then you clear your opponent's board, and then all of a sudden, you're the only player with cards on board, and they happen to have MP boost. With MP boost, you can ramp out the whole game, and you'll end up playing cards while your opponent can't play any cards. And that's similarly how Black-Green Nerg functions.
Yeah, so also, the thing with playing Black-Green deck, your mana cost is actually at 5 instead of 10. So you have half the mana to work with, which means in a duo deck, you sort of need to be slightly more aggressive. So having the Feline and the Layer for the MP boost gain gives that extra oomph to the deck to allow for the mana roll to increase, which gives you more opportunities to keep playing cards. Limited to 5 means you got to be a little more aggressive, correct?
Right, because you're forced to play cards while your opponent can wait it out. They don't get capped at 10, so they can wait. They don't get capped at 10. Oh shoot, I said that wrong. They don't get capped at 5.
Yeah.
Dual color capped at 5, but monocolor decks they can wait till 10. So time is very important in Teppen.
Yeah. So basically, Leia's the same thing as the Feline, but the difference is that she carries a shield, so she is shielded up on the first go. She's got a little less extra health. She does cost 1 extra more MP to drop. But the bonus is that if they've got a unit with flight, she'll deal 3 damage to that unit. If they've only got 1, then it's definitely 3 damage directly. But if they have a few, she'll do a split. No, it says no, just to any random. So if they've got a few, 3 or 2, it'll just go 3 to any of the random. You won't know precisely. But there's an added bonus with Leia. So, and that's pretty much it. She's just 1 extra MP cost, 2 slightly extra health, but she's got the benefit of a shield. And she can take out a potential flight unit. Most flight units are a little low cost, except for a few good that are definitely high strong. But it's an additional extra 3 damage that can come in handy sometimes when dealing with flight units.
Yes, flight units are very prevalent in Teppen, and another difference is the MP boost, because the MP boost is actually 30 and not 20, and that means that you get a extra 10%, rate of charging your MP.
I missed that one. Thank you. I almost forgot about that. Yes, there's an extra.
No, it's okay.
Extra MP boost off that one. Do we know?
I also forgot it too.
Yeah. Well, do we know precisely the percentage speed with 50 to 30 to 20?
So it's just that. So the numbers associated with MP boost, that's the percentage. So MP boost 20 is MP boost 20%, faster rate of charging your MP.
Yeah.
So you have a 20% faster rate of charging 1 MP.
Starting off with, we have Heartless Experiment.
Yes,
like that reference to Resident Evil 3.
Heartless Experiment is definitely quite a unique card because generally in this game, with how the design is balanced, 2 MP gets you 2 damage. But Heartless Experiment is different because it's 1 MP for 2 damage, but you also cut 3 health. And
yes.
That goes in with what we were saying earlier about Spike Launch and Nergigante, where you have these abilities to cut your health to get to your hero art and then wipe the board.
Precisely.
So that is one of the aesthetics of running black.
Yeah, the whole sacrificing life. So it adds to your explosion ability power. So you utilize these sacrifice 3 life to gain +2 attack. It can mean the difference in a firefight situation if you feel like, or if you want to You use it to either increase your damage for a potential hit, or if they've got a unit that needs 2 extra damage to knock out, you can definitely just do that to do a trade. So it's flexible in a different situations. We got Psycho Power.
Yep. So Psycho Power falls similarly to what we were talking about before, where 2 MP gets you 2 damage. It's the same thing, but you also, again, cut 3 health, and surprisingly, that 3 health, you can kind of see it going towards a new part of the ability, which is you get the 2 damage, and then you also gain 2 health for your unit. So you get a +2/+2 bonus onto one of your units, which Psycho Power is, the only card that does that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the buffs, they usually copy each other, and how they buff, it's like red has a 2 damage buff spell and green has a 2 damage buff spell, but black is the only one where you have a 2 mana buff spell that gives you +2/+2, which can really help with trading.
Yes, the +2/+2 is really good for only a 2 cost. Again, it's only 3 life, but I find Psycho Power a little more reliable than Heartless Experiment, but just because it's that extra +2 on defense. Because sometimes I may want to make sure a unit stays on the field longer, depending on the play that I'm going for. One of my favorite creatures, Crow.
Yes, so Crow is definitely a kind of like a subjective pick. So you don't have to run Crow, but I'm a very big fan of it. And as many other players, because you have players that either play Crow or they don't play Crow, and either way is fine. But what I like about it in this meta is that Crow has always had a great body. It's a 2/5, which 5 health is a lot of health. And we're not in a meta where we're seeing 4 mana purple, which you'll probably know what I'm talking about later on. But essentially, Crow can really survive this meta. The biggest thing about Crow is that he cuts 3 health. He's only a 3 mana unit, so he plays fairly cheap. And then you get he has flight, so you get the flight damage going over, so you can buff him, and your opponent won't be able to interact with Crow too much. So your Crow is going to have a lot more longevity than your other units, where you can just have it, damage one way and keep it alive.
True, yeah. Definitely a fan favorite. I do like this creature, knowing what other specific cards can be used to buff it. But damn, Crow's fun. Moving on, we have the Doctor from Resident Evil, Mr. William Birkin.
Yeah, William Birkin. Definitely one of my favorite cards. I actually really like the design of this. So he's also a 3 mana card, and when he enters play, he cuts for 3 health, and then he gives +1 damage to the other units on your board. So he's only a 2x because you never want to have 3 of them, because if you draw into 3 in your opening hand, it kind of feels awkward.
Yeah, it does.
You normally want to pair him with other units.
You only ever really want 1 in your hand if you want to do pairs. Just so that it just works out easier. I've definitely have an issue where I've drawn 2. I mean, I do the mono version that I'm using. I had 2 and I've got Dynamo. I'm just like, it still works fine. They're gonna definitely just help out fine. 2 doesn't bug me for the plays. Eliminator, the monkey.
Yes, so Eliminator is definitely a new card that we just got from the Devil's Awaken. And what I like about it is, while it's a common uncommon, it's actually very strong. So it's a 3 mana unit. It has agility, which agility is an ability where the attack time gets cut in half. So instead of it taking
10 seconds to attack. Yeah, it's 10 seconds to attack.
5.
Yep.
Yeah. So now it's just 5 seconds. So with that ability, it's really great when you spike launch your opponent's board, so you board clear them, and you follow up with a Eliminator. That's a huge play. So that's why he's in the deck.
Yeah. But he's got a nice added bonus. If you play, obviously, there's multiple versions of Eliminator in this deck. So whenever you play another Eliminator, the other Eliminator will buff the current Eliminator you have on the field, giving it +1/+1. So it's kind of nice. I feel like if the next expansion comes out, there'll be other Eliminator cards to actually benefit him.
Ooh.
I feel like that might be the situation, because it says when all friendly Eliminator cards. So Eliminator might be like a subcategory. I feel like, I'm thinking on it, it might be like a subcategory for cards in future.
Yes, I definitely agree with that.
It would be pretty cool. Then I'd be like, then it gives more reason. Like, okay, I want to run all these Eliminator cards, Eliminator deck, but which hero to support it? We have the Wheel Gator. He's from the Mega Man series. X.
Wheel Gator. So he was also in the original Season 1 deck. And the best aesthetic about him is that he just has a really big body, which is a 210. And that means that with that much life, he gets to stay on the board longer and he gets to trade harder. And then especially if you're putting the buffs on him, giving him more attack, he's going to become a constant threat that your opponent's going to have trouble dealing with.
Very true. Now, his ability is that you cannot use your X pocket. Suffice to say, this deck doesn't really need to rely on the X pocket, but I don't think that's such a big gripe when running this deck.
Right, because there's we actually don't have any cards that go into the X pocket.
No, but I do know that sometimes your opponent could use a card that makes you draw an extra card to the X pocket, and if Wheel Gate is there, that card's not going in there.
Correct. It actually gets taken out, so you can't draw it.
I figured it would go in there, but you just can't use it, because it says you cannot use your X pocket.
Nah, it gets burned.
Oh, really? Oh my god, that sucks.
Yeah, it gets burned.
That really does suck. The ultimate price.
Yes, so this one, for the budget deck, I think it's a very valuable card, especially as a 1x. So if you're very familiar, with card game strategy, having a 1x of a hard removal, because that's what ultimate price is.
Yes.
Is you cut 5 life and then you get to destroy one enemy unit, and then when that happens, you're essentially just paying mana to wipe out one threat that you can deal with otherwise, which is going to happen pretty frequently because your spike launch is not going to kill everything, but that ultimate price will.
Yeah, definitely. So you always want to make sure you always sacrifice 5 life. It's never ideal to lose 5 cards from the deck because you could be losing 5 cards that are going to be essential. So it's a situational play, or you use it early on and just maintain your life. Or use Sibling Memories to give you, say, 6 HP. If it takes you over 15, then you can use it. So it's definitely a nice card. I liked it. I know some people didn't really like it, but I thought, look, I didn't mind sacking 5 life to destroy 1 unit.
Right.
All right.
It's actually a very great lead-in for your spike launch because it's just 1 card, and then all of a sudden you have almost double of what you normally get.
True. It adds to the to your sacrificing of life, and it just helps spike launch. So I definitely agree with being ideal for this deck. So that's your budget 101, guys. Now, shall we move into the upgraded version of this deck, I should say. So this is definitely a good budget if you want to start out, guys. I like it. I definitely wouldn't mind actually giving this a practice. I still need to learn to use green-black. I've been using mono-black, and I still haven't figured out green-black yet, so we'll get there. Alright, so